we do here is go back.
Let's talk with Tina.
Lee, welcome to Let's Talk with Tina. What has been taking Ashley's attention and energy lately?
That's a loaded question, that one. Look, I've been in Thailand for just over 3 months, and a big thing that's been happening for me is moving to Bangkok is a very powerful place energetically for me. When you look at astrocartography, I have my sun line, which runs directly through Bangkok. And that sun line is something that shines the light on the good and the bad. Now, when I say the bad, I mean a lot of the outdated patterns and programs that I've been carrying. So a lot of those have been coming to light. There's been a lot of old money limiting beliefs that have been coming forward. There's been me stepping away from my floating breathwork business so I can focus on my personal brand. There is my ex-wife messaged me the other day out of nowhere, which I think I know why. But all of these things started coming back to the surface, which obviously with the sun shining the light on the things that need to be removed, there's that. But it's also the place where I start really coming into my own, where my voice starts to become my power and my diction becomes a lot more noticeable, but it allows me to lock in a lot more. So with the good and the bad, the light is shining on both. And look, good and bad is relative, isn't it? It's all perspective, because what you may find bad, I might find good. So it's just shining the light on the shadow for me to remove that step forward. So, and that's all been happening within the last week. So it's been a lot.
It sounds busy. So you mentioned so many things that kind of took my attention. You mentioned Thailand, Bangkok, ex-wife, brand. Can you take me into those details? I'm very curious to know what happened to your life.
Where do we start? I mean, look, we look at the journey of what's got me to here now. Like, life has been a beautiful amount of lessons that I've been experiencing, and a lot of it unconsciously. When we look at me ending up in Bangkok, that is after many years of traveling around, experiencing what life was giving me at that point in time. So I was in the military when I was younger. I then worked in the mines for a year. That then took me to the UK for 10 years. In the UK, during that time in the 10 years, I was a stripper. I started on OnlyFans back in 2017, I think it was. I was married, I got divorced. I was an online coach, a professional bodybuilder in 3 federations, world title, British title, European title. That then took me back to Australia after my divorce. I fell back into stripping, into drugs and alcohol. And then that led me to the path that I'm on now, where that was breathwork, which then took me to a monastery. And then from the monastery, that took me to Dubai. I ended up opening a floating breathwork business called Immersive with my old business partner. And after the war started, I ended up flying to Dominican Republic to film a TV show called Reality Retreat. And then from that, I went to India for a trip, and then that brought me back into Thailand. So
wow.
Back in 2024, we'd gone to Thailand. We'd come to Thailand, and we were looking for retreat spaces. Now, the guy that I'd gone with to Thailand, funny enough, was me repeating a different lesson, the same lesson with a different face. But at that point in time, I didn't see that. And what then happened was, I remember one night I kind of caught him out on a lie, and I was like, I think he's full of shit. So I'm just going to go home. So I went back, I smoked a joint, and I started scrolling on social media, and I saw a video of a guy called Kevin. Now, the video was basically a video of his face on a plane, and he had hair. And he basically went like this with the phone over his head, then back down on his face. And it was a transition. He had no hair, no eyebrows, no beard. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? So I clicked on his profile, and I then saw he went to a monastery here in Thailand, up in Chiang Mai, called I Monastery, which is an international monastery. And what they do is they've created a 30-day experience for Westerners to come and experience monk life. Now, what that looks like, normally when you go to ordain as a monk, or you want to become a monk, is it takes you between 6 months to a year as a novice before you can step in and become a an ordained monk. But what they've done is they've brought it down to a month period where you are a novice for a week, and then you ordain and you become a monk for 3 weeks. So I was like, I've always wanted to do this. So why don't we jump at this? Let's do it. So I applied, and next as I got in, and I got into the group that was in September 2024. So that was a really, really exciting moment for me, because I was like, I felt like everything was starting to shift. And I remember I got to the monastery, and I knew why I was there, and I was excited whilst I was there, but I saw so many people that felt so lost of why they were there. Anyway, it was beautiful. You're in the middle of the rainforest. They have they take everything off you. So you only have the clothes they give you. You have a pair of flip-flops. You have a toothbrush. You have a razor, like your toiletries, and you have a pillow, a blanket, and that's basically it. And you end up experiencing what a monk would do in those 30 days. Now, what they've done is a monk will normally, like the traditional monk, every morning they go out and they do arms round. Now, arms round is they have a bowl and they go to the houses along their street, wherever they are, whether it's in a village or whether it's in a city. And what will happen is the people will come out and they will give the monk some of their best food. And that's how the monk eats. So they will usually eat breakfast and lunch, and that's it. So what we did was, because of that experience, they had a full catering team. So we had breakfast and lunch always cooked for us. But after you become an ordained monk, is you'll go out and you'll experience an arms round. You'll do it 3 times. So during this time, the way a day looks is I would always wake up. So I'd have an alarm on an old analog watch. I'd have an alarm for 4:30 and I'd get up. I'd have a quick shower. They'd ring the gong at 5 a.m. You'd then go into the meditation hall and you'd do a morning chanting and meditation. From there, you'd then do cleaning. So then, because cleaning is a form of meditation, so you'd get designated where you're doing your cleaning part, and you'd clean for half an hour. Then you'd go in and you'd have breakfast. After that, you'd have like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then you'd go into morning Dharma classes. And Dharma is like the truth. So you have the Bible, you have Dharma, sort of thing. Basically, what you do is you do morning Dharma classes, and you will then do morning meditation, and then you'll have lunch. You'll then have about an hour and a half to 2 hours again. Then you'll have afternoon Dharma classes, followed by afternoon meditation. Then about 2 to 3 hours after that, you'll then do evening chanting, evening Dharma class, evening meditation, and then in bed. And you live that life for 30 days. Now, you have no technology. You have no contact with the outside world. Like, yes, there are villages that you'll see around you. Yes, they'll take you to a school and you'll do certain things, but it is literally you at the monastery, meditating, learning Dharma the whole time. And usually for the first 3 weeks, you'll have more Dharma classes than meditation. And in the last 2 weeks, you go from 4 hours of meditation to 6 hours of meditation. Now, I wanted to experience this because I wanted to see what happened when I came off ADHD medication. I wanted to learn how to meditate, but I wanted to be a part of a beautiful way of life, because Buddhism is a way of life. It's not a religion. So being able to remove myself from the external world that I knew, which was constant stimulation and validation. Here I was nothing but a set of saffron robes and a guy that was meditating and learning about an ancient tradition. So what they'll do is every single full moon, you shave your head, you shave your eyebrows, you shave your beard. And that is the part of basically stripping the identity of who you are. But it's also, with the full moon, it comes with that brand new cycle as well. So that has been one of the most, I've had so many people that have come through my social media that have also gone to that monastery to experience it. I still work with the monastery closely, send people to them. I film content with them. Like, I still work with them closely because I believe this is an experience that everyone needs to try. Now, yes, it is for men only for the the month experience, but they've also brought in an experience, which is a 2-week course for women to experience what it's like to be a nun. Now, they don't have to shave their hair. They don't have to do all of that, but they can still go through the experience. Now, I definitely believe if the world, you've heard it before, if the world leaders meditated, the world would be a much better place. I believe if everyone experiences meditation, that the world would be a better place. Because meditation is a connection to spirit. Meditation is a way we change our frequency. And a lot of us are living in a frequency that is in the lowest states. We're living in that state of anxiety, fear, overwhelm, shame, all of these sorts of things.
Validation.
Exactly. But meditation helps us raise our frequency because we start to become the observer of the internal experience. And I know I've got so many, you hear it all the time with so many people going, I've got ADHD, I don't know how to meditate, or I just don't know how to meditate, my brain doesn't shut up. And it's like, no one's brain shuts up. Stop using it as an excuse that you're fucking special, because you're not. No one's brain shuts up. What happens is we learn to become the observer of the experience by being able to kind of like, to be able to step back and to be able to see the thoughts, but to detach from the thoughts. And the easiest way is to bring it back to that center. And that bring it back to that center is either bringing it back to a mantra or bringing it back to your breath. And it becomes that thing where you slowly learn to find that center. And eventually, with that practice and that patience, is yes, you can have moments where you feel like there is no thoughts happening. And it is a beautiful place to be in. But it's an experience that takes time, but it's an experience that is such a valuable thing to learn to use for your everyday life. Like we spoke about breath work of what I do. Like I look at breath work and the journey that I do, the floating breath work, where they're about 90-minute experiences. I look at that as breath work because that's fucking work. But when it comes to what I'm doing with my clients and what I'm doing with the free session that I run twice a month it's more of a meditation. Yes, we'll do a physiological sigh at the start. Yes, as we go through the head to toe relaxation, is I get people to, yes, I do add breath a part of it, but as we're having this conversation, we're breathing, we're doing breath work. Like I feel I've stepped more into the space of a guided meditative state of what I provide. Or what I do with people, because I find what that does is that creates more of the connection to self. Like the other thing that I do is I work with cold plunges and ice baths. But with cold plunges and ice baths, what I do is I tie that to stress management. And with tying those to stress management is we look at the world around us right now. A lot of people feel like we're living in a dangerous, chaotic world. Now, if we look at the things that are happening around us, we look what's happening in the Middle East, we look what's happening in Africa, we look at what's happening all around the world, there is a lot of chaos happening. Now, our internal world, how we react to this is key.
Right.
If we choose to take on the chaos of the world and have it affect us in here, that doesn't do good for the rest of the world. All that does is it creates chaos within inside you. We can't make change in the world if our internal world is chaos. So when we look at a cold plunge, the external world is the cold, is the ice. For us to be able to stay into a cold plunge, to surrender to the experience of what's happening, we need to go into almost a meditation with breath, relaxing the body, relaxing the self. We find, yes, we can feel our hands, they're on fire. Toes, our feet, they're on fire. Every part of us is going, I want to get out. I want to get out. Fuck this. Just like everything that's going on around us, we need to do something. We need to, like, It's the same sort of thing. But what happens is when we come in and we start to meditate and we focus on our heartbeat and making sure we are relaxed and not fighting the cold plunge, we calm the inner world. So by learning to calm the inner world in a cold plunge, we learn to calm ourselves in stressful environments. When we learn to calm ourselves in amongst the stressful environments that are happening all around us, we notice that our frequency shifts internally. So we notice the frequency around us of what's happening around us shifts. Now, just because we go in and we start meditating and we start calming our inner world, it's not going to stop the chaos of the world happening. Unfortunately, the chaos of the world at the moment is a much bigger problem than just us. But the chaos of the world is also created by the collective consciousness that has got us to this point. The way we change the world going forward is by everyone starting to shift the frequency back into this beautiful state. Because what we're seeing at the moment, we're seeing the light and the dark are fighting. We have been controlled by darkness for so long. Corruption, tyranny, shit people that are in power, all of these things where they're just dragging us into war and constant chaos and taking advantage of people has what has been run in this world for so long. And we've been so fucking, we have been so blind to it because we have been told to believe propaganda of what's in the world. But what we're seeing now is we're seeing an energetic shift because the world is waking up to what the hell is going on around us.
Yes.
As everything starts to wake up, the way that we make this stronger is by making sure our inner world is stronger, because the more that we have controlled our own inner world affects this person, affects this person, affects this person. Next, you know, with more and more people starting to look after their own inner experience, that inner frequency gets stronger and starts to affect everything around. It
So
starts
true.
with us. People go, I can't, what can I do? What can I do to help the world? What you can do is you can work on yourself, because that work that you do on yourself is what's going to help affecting that person and that person and that person. That is what that's, I want to use terrible experience of saying network marketing, but it's that ripple effect.
Mm.
Like that, your work ripples out to every other person. That's how we, because what we can all see that, yes, everyone's kicking and screaming, but nothing's changing. So if nothing's changing, we have to do something else. And instead of kicking and screaming all the time, yes, we bring it all to light, but what we do is we change here first. So yeah, sorry for that rant.
No, I loved it. I got so into it because I'm so happy we talked about this, because we couldn't miss this part, because we started with the monk and then we went exactly where I wanted to. I'm so
Beautiful.
happy we did this part. Ooh, that was deep, because it kind of reminded me as well, you know, you took me kind of back to the whole journey of myself. Like, I've been trying to talk with people a lot, like they should work so hard with themselves to get to know themselves before they start helping somebody. And I tell that to everybody, all of my friends, like, can you please help me? I need your help. When they go through something, I'm like, I cannot help you if I'm not okay with myself. I need to help myself in order for me to help you. And just like I'm doing the work, do the same thing. Like, stop being in this fear state that, oh, you see what is happening in the world? You're attracting that. Automatically, you're going to go to that state of mind. You're not growing. You're going by the fear direction instead of being strong and working on yourself. And yes, everything that is happening, it's a lot of distraction at my point of view. So you should be careful where you concentrate your energy and your attention. So sometimes it's hard to communicate this to the people because, as I said, not everybody's doing the inside work. So it takes a bit of time to make them understand that stop going by the fear direction, because you're not growing and you're going to end up like everybody else.
And it's so hard because that's what they've known their entire life. Remember, our parents used to sit there and watch the news, and what's the best kind of news is all fear based. And that's still what we're getting at the moment. Like, yes, what is happening in the world is fucking terrible. And it is all a complete distraction because look at what we've been, they're doing this to distract from this, but they're both just as bad as each other. But you see what's being spoken about and what's not. And it's
Yeah.
just like, at the end of the day, all of this shit that is happening at the moment, as fucked up as it is, has to happen because, and there's a lot of lives lost, which again is messed up, but it has to happen because this is bigger than just all of us. This is an entire planetary frequency that is having to shift. And for that frequency to shift, a lot has to get fucking messy on the way out. I heard a bit this morning, which was like at the moment, what the experience that we're having is we are in the middle of a soup. It is messy. It is fucking all over the place. But for the good to come through to the other side, we have to go through that shit that has been controlling what we have known as life for so long. And the way that we make a difference is by starting with ourselves. That's it.
And
So,
it's
yeah.
easy. Once you decide, it's easy. You're gonna feel happier. I mean, again, I know going through that awakening journey, it's not super easy, but it's gonna take you to a great direction, that's for sure. To get to know
Yeah.
yourself better and to take better decisions in life. And to probably be able to finally help the others because you are healed already. Even though, to my opinion,
Exactly.
healing is a long journey. So, like the onion
never
layers,
stops.
you keep taking a layer
Yeah.
out and still some healing there.
But it never stops. And this is the other thing as well. Like, remember, we are all energy. So with us all being energy, the thoughts and the actions and the things that are happening inside of us are at a certain level of, at a certain frequency. So if everything is, if our thoughts are negative and if we're taking in the negative things of the world, then our frequency is down and we are no good. We don't have clarity. We can't think clearly. We can't do these things if we're stuck in a lower vibration. The way that we grow is by putting ourselves into that higher frequency, because that then opens us up to better thoughts, ideas, actions, and things that we can do. Because when we're living in this lower frequency, our view of the world is this, a fucking tunnel vision. When we have this higher frequency in this tunnel vision, we can't see these ideas and opportunities over here because we're like this. But when our frequency shifts and we get into that state of happiness, of joy, of abundance, all these sort of areas, those things go to like this, and we start to see so many more opportunities around us.
Yeah.
Like, I had this conversation with a client yesterday. We were talking about because he was very new to this, and we were talking about frequency, and he was like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Okay, think of this. If you're in a bad mood, if you feel like shit internally, you notice everything around you is like everything's going against you. Nothing seems to work. You don't have ideas. You feel cloudy minded, all these sorts of things. But when you feel good, you notice opportunity everywhere. You notice your thoughts are better. You notice you feel better. That's energetic, and that is all happening within you. The reason that has changed is because your perspective of the experience you're having is exactly what is causing all of this. And that's where the power lies. When we switch the perspective on experiences and the way we view the world, our energy shifts and our frequency raises. When we start to live in that higher frequency, we see the world without these rose-tinted glasses. We see the world for a vibrant, beautiful, abundant thing full of opportunity. But unfortunately, it's a lot easier to stay in a lower frequency because we have doom scrolling, because we have all these sugary foods, fatty foods, ways to keep us dumbed down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand what you're talking about. Not everybody does, how important the food you put in your body is as well, energetically. So
Oh,
100%. The news you check every day, the scroll down, like everything, it's energy and it's where you direct your own energy as well. So myself, I try to stay away, especially from the TV. It's been years now that I barely check because I know once I start like using the remote, I'm going to get stuck there and my energy is shifted to a complete different
Yeah.
direction. So I'm very careful when it comes to the TV. I try to be careful with the surroundings, like what people do I let to have access in my everyday life. I
Yeah.
didn't know before until I started learning about the energies, but I do agree that we all are energies and we all can help each other to heal. We all are gifted and we born with a gift, with a purpose, with a mission. The question is, are you ready to put that gift in
Yeah.
work and find your purpose?
What is it with great thing comes great responsibility.
Mm,
Great power comes great responsibility. I think that's the one.
yeah,
But it is. It's like you've got to be ready for, like, the healing journey is never done, but it's now knowing that the power that you are unlocking within yourself comes with a responsibility. Like it's and that responsibility is you're going to awaken and people are going to start seeing things in you, and it is your responsibility to be that light. That's why I'm very big on people sharing their stories when they feel comfortable, but sharing your story and being okay with your story, because a lot of us, a lot of people, and I've seen this, especially in my earlier years, of like, you don't know what I've been through. You wouldn't understand. You don't get it. And it's like, no, I probably don't understand your specific story and to the extent of what you experienced it. I'm not saying that I would. But when we look at the emotions of abandonment, fear, anxiety, scarcity, all of these core emotions that go around most likely what your experience was, most people have experienced that. Now, where we become the line is when we can share our story of those experiences that we went through, but also show that we are also the hero of our story and not the victim of the circumstances. When you can do that, you then become the light for those people that can resonate with your story that may not be ready to fully move through and to accept things yet. And that's where with great power comes great responsibility, because sharing your story is a beautiful way for you to then help others that may be stuck or feeling they can't get out. And that's the thing. My
absolutely.
story, me sharing my story, not everyone's going to resonate with that. Cool. I get it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially, so it's share your story because it's probably going to help one person,
Mhm.
and that one person, one life that no doubt needed that.
Absolutely. But I'm also sure in everything that you shared, you sparked somebody, at least in one point of your life experience.
Oh
So
yeah,
I believe every
yeah,
story is important to remind us. And as you said, there are people that they're going to resonate with the story, but there are people that maybe we're just going to remind them that there are
exactly.
things that you can make your life better.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
believe every story, it's
was
good to
it
be shared.
100%? And the thing is, like, most of the time, you may hear something from someone, and it doesn't, like, you may hear my story and it doesn't resonate with you. You may
Mhm.
then hear someone that something, or you may hear from 20 other people similar stories that don't resonate with you at that point in time because you are just not
Right.
there yet to actually see that.
Yes.
Then 5 years down the track, someone shares the
Mhm.
exact same story, and you go, my God, I see every part of me in that. Because like in
Exactly.
relationships, I remember as a growing up, all your friends would go, dude, she's not good for you. And you'd be like, no, fine, fine. You get 5 years down in a relationship and you go, I probably should have listened to you all 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree on that because I did have those experiences too. So that makes so much sense. Sometimes you try to ignore it because you think you're cool, you're going through that lifestyle, drinking, doing anything, partying. And
Yeah.
then somebody says something, you try to ignore it. And that's what happened with the spirituality that came to my life through a friend of mine. I was traveling, I think I was somewhere I don't remember exactly. I think it was Maribor, somewhere in
Yeah.
Slovenia. And
Yeah.
then my friend was telling me I started discovering spirituality. And at that point, I was a mix coming from a family mix like Muslim and Orthodox from my mother's side.
Yeah.
And I was okay, like respecting every religion. I didn't know much about spirituality. And when she started sharing it, to me, it was sounding like she's crazy. Like most of the people think now, but I think differently at this point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's when I started ignoring it. And then I came to that point of life that I needed a change so bad. Like the Muslim religion was sounding okay, but there were things that I was disagreeing. It was not resonating with me. Not because I'm against that, but then I used to go at church every Sunday. I love the idea of singing. I used to sing on church. But again, something was missing. So I'm like, after probably 3 years, her telling me, probably you have to go through learning more about yourself through spirituality. That's what clicked me after 3 years. And that's when I started learning more.
Yes.
So I agree with you that people can remember you after a few years when they really start going through their discovering journey
Mhm.
of themselves.
Yeah. I've got clients that have come to me after 4 years. They followed me for 4 years and then they've gone, okay, I think it's time to reach out. Like at the end of the day, we will only grow to our level of understanding. Like we know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. And we only know more when we're open to accepting that there's more there. And for some people that can happen straight away. Others it takes a bit of time. Others, I've heard stories of people in their late 80s that only just start awakening. And it's people like, I wish I awakened sooner. And it's like, but you weren't ready. Like this, when people try to force awakenings, they try to force things that they regret not knowing these things sooner. But it's like, you can't regret not knowing these things sooner because back then you didn't have the capacity to be able to hold what you know now.
That is true.
So it's like we're always exactly where we're meant to be.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's,
Everything,
yeah,
everything has its
everything,
own time.
yeah, everything has its own time. And every time is perfect.
Mm,
As much as
I
we don't
agree on
like
that.
it, everything is always perfect exactly as it needs to be.
And
So
more
yeah.
people should believe that because people said, oh, the time is running, especially from my culture. I'm Albanian.
Yeah,
We
okay, yeah.
have a time for everything. We have a time to finish the university. We have a time to get married. We have a time to have children. Then we have a time to help the family. But I'm a bit against that. I love the
Yeah,
culture. There are so many beautiful things, but I don't like the idea of timing your life. Like you should let yourself free. We live in a free will, so we should just find the real purpose and the mission in your life
agreed.
without thinking that, oh, I'm getting old. No, as much as I think I'm getting old, I'm really getting old, but I am not. Like, no matter how old I am, I feel so young because I'm energetic, I'm creative, I'm doing things, I'm not sitting down. I'm trying to
Yeah,
inspire others because I help them. I know they're going to help me to remind me again that, hey, I'm not getting old. I can still do whatever I want to do.
fuck yeah. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
So
The beautiful thing as well when we look at time, like people look at time and go, oh my God, time is going so fast. And it's like, it's because you're not present with time. The more you become present with time, the more time slows down. The more you stop running your life on time and think you're running out of time, the more present you are, the slower it goes. But the more you think of something that you don't have, the more that's what it becomes. So yeah. I think we've just filmed another podcast.
We should definitely do another podcast. Absolutely. Oh my God. You see, but this is how podcasts should be. Like you should just talk and flow into the conversation.
It's
That's
real
why I don't
conversation.
like questions. Like, as I said, I used to be on TV shows every single day in my country. Every other artist or colleague that I had, they're like, oh, I'm freaking out. I don't want to go if they don't send me the questions. I'm like, what is the point? If you have the questions, you're going to turn into a robot. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to be yourself. You have already something memorized in your computer. So it's not cool. To me, it's just, let's talk and see how that goes.
Yeah.
I don't want to go prepared.
It's inauthentic that way as well.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, even in life, we're not prepared. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So why should we be prepared? You be prepared, you get to the expectations, you fail, and you disappoint yourself. So no, you don't need a preparation. You just need to leave the moment now.
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the other thing is we have an idea of what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes, but we actually have no idea. So this is why being here now is so much more important.
Absolutely. So many challenges, changes, colors in a lifestyle, changing cultures.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a few things that I would like to go through all of them. I'll start with bodybuilding. Can you take me into that version of your life? What was really happening inside you at that point?
So the version that was inside me of what I realize now was that version of me that was seeking validation because I was teased a lot as a kid. I remember I used to get told that you have an amazing body. Everyone loved seeing a six pack. And I started getting that idea that if I had the validation from people for how I looked, then I was accepted, especially because I was teased a lot as a kid. And that became a lot more prevalent the older I got. And I realized I could start doing steroids. I realized I could start competing. So when I moved to the UK, I remember I started working at a gym in North London. And that is where I found my first coach. And again, I'd moved to a brand new country. So I had an opportunity to recreate a version of me that was different to what was in Australia. So that version of me was free. That version of me was open. This is where I started stepping into manifestation and started to learning about a broader perspective of mindset. But I found bodybuilding was a way that I was able to find some purpose. And also, once I started stripping, because they ran side by side, stripping and bodybuilding worked together because I was always in shape. I always had a good physique. I was always used to taking my clothes off. So they worked hand in hand together. But that version of the bodybuilder was, again, unknowingly chasing the validation, but it was hidden behind discipline. It was hidden behind a purpose. And that purpose was, I'm good at this. I can win at this. And I am accepted for this. Again, the validation side, I didn't notice until a lot later on. But that took me down the path of, like, I was missing birthdays. I missed anniversaries. I missed so many things because I didn't care. Don't come near me. I'm bodybuilding. I need to be eating 6 meals a day. I need to be training twice a day. I need to be doing this. Like, you don't come in my way. This is my lane. This is what I'm doing. I was in St. Lucia during COVID, and I was 6 days out from a competition. So by this point in time, I had already done, I think, 7 shows. I'd placed second in 2 or 3. I'd won every other show. I had a world title, a British title, and a European title by this point in time. And I was 6 days out from the show, and I remember I got into an argument with my ex-wife because she said I wasn't being fun and getting involved with all the activities. So I was like, okay, fuck it, let's go. So I went wakeboarding, and I remember as I was going to the back of the wakeboard, this one guy that was training in the gym said to me, don't hurt yourself, you have a competition in 6 days. First thing that happened, I was like, nah, mate, it'll be fine. Get behind the boat takes off, the board goes under the water. I tried to pull myself up, and my lats just here go snap. And I remember getting out of the water just going, I fucked it. Part of me was broken because I thought I'd messed it up completely. I'd flown to Poland 6 days later, and I still placed second. But I was now competing with a handicap in an area where I was always the most symmetrical. I had a beautiful physique and I was always winning. So everything started coming undone. Then once I got to my pro card for the IFBB, I then did 3 shows as a pro. Now those 3 shows was I placed 16th, 11th and 10th. Now on the second show where I placed 11th, what they do is we only had 15 guys doing the competition, and for the call outs for the top 5, second 5 and last 5, they'll call them out. What happened was they called the first 5, they called the second 5, and they called 4. And that left me standing at the back with a smile on my face that was so big, but every part inside of me broke. There was a photo of me going down to work that day after the show of, it was like a filter where you could put like different colored eyes on. And I'd taken a photo of myself on the train, but I was dead inside. Someone told him, it was like, bring him forward. So they called me back and they gave me 11th out of 15th. And it kind of felt like a pity place. But that point really, really messed me up. And at this point in time, my marriage was also crumbling as well. So I'm balancing all of these things. Then for the last show, so basically I had split up with my ex-wife just at the start of September 22. I walked out. And what happened was I had 3 days up until the Arnold's. Now, when you sign up for a bodybuilding show as a professional with the IFBB, if you don't compete after you've signed the contract, you get fined $1,000. So I changed coach 3 weeks out, and he basically said to me, he goes, would you like to place top 3, top 10, or where do you want to be? And I remember I said to him, I'm like, look, I know I'm not going to place top 3, so let's go top. So I dropped 10 kilos in those 3 weeks. And again, it was that shell of a man. My marriage just broken up. I did everything I could to ignore what was happening in my life, and I focused solely on the competition. Just after that, because my parents were there, my family was there to watch the show. So that week after I spent with them, they then left. And after they left, I was then left with all the emotion that I've been pushing down and running from. And that was the first time that I actually had to sit with my own shit and go, what am I doing? Because I was using bodybuilding as a mask for validation, but also a mask for me to not deal with the problems in my relationship. So that version of me that was a bodybuilder was, yes, I loved what I did. It gave me stage presence. It gave me confidence. It gave me discipline. But what that was a mask for the man that I wasn't ready to face, of doing everything for the validation. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So talking about the divorce, and you kind of took me back to that period of surrounding yourself to that divorce. And I heard, where were you emotionally at that point in your life? So what did that change for you?
Look, my marriage was my biggest teacher. It takes 2 people to make a marriage work, and it takes 2 people to make a marriage fail. And with that, I wouldn't change a thing of it. I look back now and I realize I see so many signs of why we probably shouldn't have been married, but I also see why we were and the lessons that came from that, because the lessons that I learned coming away from that were the exact things I needed to learn to grow into the person that I am now. And that was in a time of my life where we would get messed up a lot. We'd do a lot of drugs. We didn't really drink, but we used to do a lot of drugs. We were entertainers. So it was, there was connection, yes. And there was a lot of beautiful moments, but there was also a lot that we were both refusing to address with each other. And even after I left my marriage, I had a bit of time to myself, and then I started running or trying to find people to sleep with, because I was after connection. But in doing that, I was still running away from the connection that was needed with myself. And I think that's one of the hardest things that we see with relationships and people in general. People, they'll break up and they'll go to try to hide under someone else or hide their emotions in other people without finding that love that they need to be able to give themselves. And I thought I was immune from that. I thought that, oh, I'm good. I've got it all together. Like, I know what I'm doing. I am grounded. I've been married. I know what connection is, but I had no idea. And this still played in my life up until last year, because I saw, with me moving to Dubai, the immersive business was launched from a place of fear because I had no other opportunity. No other option, sorry. Basically, the person I was working with, I stopped working with him, and I had to get a visa if I wanted to stay in Dubai. So that only option was to launch a business. Now, at the start, everything was amazing. But what we did, we launched the world's first ocean floating breathwork inside the park. What we did was we had people doing breathwork on camping mattresses, airbeds with headphones, but they were floating on the salt water in the ocean. Now, the beautiful thing of that is after the breathwork, I put the hands and the feet in the water. So anything that came up during, like the energy that came up could then be transmuted back into nature.
That's beautiful.
Now, the first 2 weeks we did this, no one said anything. Police boats went by, no one said anything. But after we went viral, it came on the radar of the government. And what happened, the third day we'd sold out. We had 55 people ready to go in the water. And there was a police boat sitting just outside the actual barrier. I tried to ignore him because I was like, he's going to go away. He's just curious what we're doing. And then someone goes, excuse me, can you come over here, please? So I'd got in the water. I waded out to him and he said, you can't go in the water. You don't have the permits. And I was like, hold on. No. The venue has organized the permits. The venue said they've got the permits. Like, I've got 55 people. I need to do this. And it was like, nah, you don't have the permits. So we found out that the hotel also didn't do their part, which was really annoying. But what that then led was, for the next 3 weeks, led me going in and out of offices trying to explain what breathwork was and what we were doing. Because they basically, anyone I spoke to said, no, you can't do it. Not allowed. So from that stage, I started a very deep spiral internally. I noticed my social media started going down. My content changed. My personal brand suffered. I was getting into old patterns where I was just finding the wrong people to be able to try to create connection with where there was nothing there. I was running from my own internal pain instead of actually sitting with myself. And that has been the beauty of this point of where I am now, because I've removed myself from that space, that energy that was there. And I've now started to step in to do the deeper work. And quite honestly, I feel what Dubai was for me was a place of this spiritual ego. It was a place where I was hiding behind the hats and the beads and the spiritual woo-woo guy wearing linen all the time, because that was a version that I thought I needed to step into. But it's been, since removing myself from the energy and coming here, I can now see that clearly of, oh, that's the person that I was being. Okay, I see what I was doing there. To the point now, I feel I'm a lot more integrated into the person that I need to be. There's that balance between the spiritual connection, but also the person who's still got his foot in reality of what's happening around me.
That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. That's a great story. Every time you say something, there is another story that you don't even expect. So yeah, you had spent like years building your body and your identity, your success, and being seen. So what happened when none of those things mattered anymore?
I had to see the real identity that was sitting underneath. It was that little boy that was trying to be integrated and brought into this life. It was almost like, you know, the kid at school that is always the last one picked on the sports team. It was almost like that. It was almost just like the younger version of me going, dude, I'm still here. Like, like, I want to be accepted, but I want to be accepted by no one else other than you. And that was the thing. I'd built such a persona of this person that I'd become, because I was like, don't worry, man, we're not going to be hurt again. We're going to make sure we are seen by everyone. We're going to be accepted by everyone. Don't worry, bro, I got us. But what I was doing was I was making that choice without understanding his position. And that was the biggest realization, especially recently. I did a bullfold journey, some mushroom journeys, and I've had a lot of time to really reflect. Okay.
So did mushrooms help you?
I've been doing mushrooms for a long time, but these two journeys that I did were with penis envy, and these things really, really took me to a pretty heavy place. And especially when you're doing the combination of you've done bufo and then a week later you're doing psilocybin, two medicines kind of working together.
Yeah, in one shot.
You don't realize, but you don't realize the impact. And I think what was interesting was during this journey, we had the mushroom, and within 30 minutes, I started like coughing. And I was like, why am I coughing like this? Like, the last time I remember doing this was when I did ayahuasca back last year in Costa Rica. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. And then throughout the day, there were moments I was in some very deep conversations and some big realizations. With one of my good friends, we were talking about our fathers and all these things. And I remember at one point, it's the first time on mushrooms that I remember like properly questioning reality. Like I was hyper aware of what was going on. Like everything was ultra HD. Everything was in ultra HD. And I was like, wow. And then that night, I remember said to my friends, I'm like, let's go for some food because this is probably going to help bring it down a bit. So we went and sat down for some food. And I remember at one point, I felt like it was whenever I turned my head towards the ocean, it felt like I was getting a ball of energy just here. But it felt like a very fine sand. I don't know if you've ever seen Dragon Ball Z when they get like the energy ball and the energy comes from the hands into a ball. That's what it felt like right here. And I said to my friend, I'm like, look, let's go. Let's go home. So we started walking home and I said to him, I'm like, look, I'm okay, but I've never experienced this before. So just stay with me. And I remember at one point I said to him, I just looked at him and said, look, I'm okay, but do you know CPR? And he looked at me and he was like, what? And I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I just
in case.
Yeah, just in case. So we keep walking home and I remember we get to the road and I basically hand him my stuff and I said, here it is. I got on all fours on the side of the road with cars running past and it was, the dry reaching of that sound.
Wow.
It was that for about 20 minutes, but it was an intense sort of sound.
And you couldn't control it, right?
Couldn't control it. But again, like back when I did the ayahuasca, I remember I got on all fours during that experience and I was speaking with her and I was like, okay, let's move it through the body. I feel you, like whatever's there, let's move this out. Let's do it together. You draw it, I'm going to move the body and let's get it out. So it was that same kind of experience. Like I was literally cowing on the side of the road. And when I stood up and I said to my friend, I'm like, look, this isn't done yet, but just let's keep walking. So we kept walking and got around the corner and I gave him everything. And I said, hold this, here it is. So I got on all fours again, but this time that ball came back. But every time it was a cough, but it was worse than a smoker's cough. It was about 10 minutes of that. I said, okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. Anyway, there were some very big realizations that came out of that. Connection to my father, being able to speak my voice, but really a big veil was lifting. So yeah, it's been a very big journey over the past 3-4 months that has been uncovering a lot of what's been happening for the last 36 years.
Wow. And when you mention the mushrooms and ayahuasca, how important it is to have a guidance when you do that, when you don't have the right knowledge?
Yeah, look, especially if you're going to take a ceremonial sort of dose, you need to be having someone with you, a guide, or you need to have a very good understanding of that world and have worked with medicine before. So thankfully, I've worked with the medicine as well. So in Costa Rica, so I work alongside some people down there. I used to do breath work either side of ceremony. So I've worked with the medicine before, which is beautiful, but I really... Like, look, you can do a gram one day and it's going to be nothing. It could be just a casual dose and it's just a lot of fun. But then another time you do a gram and the medicine's going to say, sit down, you're in for a ride.
Right.
I believe it's you need to be taken through the medicine.
Do you still use this type of medicine? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're trying to work out the next retreat we're going to be doing in Costa Rica.
That's it.
The mushrooms, I've taken a break. I don't have a calling to do it at the moment. So
yeah, you need a break. So did you discover anything about yourself during these experiences?
I mean, look, through the years of doing plant medicine just in general, there has always been little lessons that have been there. But I think one of the most powerful ones that has really come forward is the connection to my father. It's a bit of a deeper topic to go down, but I've spoken to him about a lot of this. But I've found there's a deeper connection there to him and almost an energetic coupling where the work that happens through me can also be helping him. If that makes sense.
I agree on that. Yes, absolutely. It's like the generational.
Yeah. And I think that was speaking to my shaman about this. She's been very good in helping me with this, talking with them about it. They've had an open mind, which has been very beautiful. But also I've said to him, I'm like, I don't want me sharing this with you is not me taking the power away from you and the work you have done. I just want you to know there is, when we look at the spiritual side of things, when it comes to the generational healing, that this can be part of what it is. So thankfully they've been very open-minded with this, because I know just going to saying that to someone that is not in this sort of space, they can
Absolutely.
take it quite fast. So yeah.
Yeah. And they should be ready for this change, because always for our generation, it's easier because we do have more information nowadays, but before they didn't know better. So now we have the
100%.
power to at least give them a direction that, hey, this thing exists. You can get to know yourself better. We have
Right.
guidance for everything to feel better and get a bit out of this society mindset that everything should be strict and follow.
Yeah, I've seen their growth over the years, which has been very beautiful. Like, thankfully, I've had very open-minded parents. And my parents, who, with their grace and the way they brought up me and the boys up, we had a beautiful childhood, and it's allowed that space for me to be open to explore, but also to have the openness with them, which has been really helpful within this journey. So I'm very grateful to both my parents and my brothers.
That's amazing. So looks like your life has been changing a lot, from bodybuilding, OnlyFans, and then all these other journeys, traveling around the world, trying to find yourself. You finally moved to Thailand in 2026. What is different about your life now?
The work that I'm doing now is coming from the space, or coming from the place of integration. I think beforehand, I remember when I started stripping with Forbidden, and I remember how I got into that whole space, that I thought that was the person that I would be for the rest of my life. I thought that was who I was going to be, and that persona of the bodybuilder and the stripper was going to be every part of it. It was just going to be everything. I remember when I started doing OnlyFans that I thought that was then going to be everything. And I thought I was going to be a content creator for the rest of my life, and selling my body was going to be being a personal trainer and an online coach. I thought that was also going to be a part of who I was. But what I didn't realize was that every step of my journey, every experience that I've had, it has been a certain stepping stone I needed for me to step into the version of myself that I'm becoming. So the version of myself that steps forward from here is the one that's been able to integrate the entertainer, the performer, the stripper, the bodybuilder, the content creator, the coach, the mentor, and even the spiritual side of things. That they were all versions of myself that I was living. But now this version is the one that integrates the lessons from each part of those to help me become the more powerful, integrated version to step forward to help, or to make a bigger impact in the world, however that looks going forward.
I can still see that entertainer spirit at you, and that's amazing, because you are creative and you're creating and you're offering help. And now you work with successful, driven men who have everything on paper, but they still feel empty. So what do you recognize in them?
I feel most men are still living the patterns of what we've been told from, whether it was our fathers, our grandfathers, our coaches, or our uncles, and things that we were told growing up. A lot of men will build these incredible lives of a business, even a family. They'll do all of these things externally to be able to create the validation for themselves, to make them feel like they are worthy, to make them feel they can be accepted. But a lot of the time when we're building, or when these things are being built, externally they're great, but those foundations are built on sand. Have been built as things that are away from. I built this in spite of this. I built this because my father was this. I built this because I was told I'd never. That's what's been built. I had a really beautiful upbringing. I built a lot of things in these personas of what I've had because I was teased, because I was never accepted. And because I never felt accepted, like I said, with the bodybuilding, I had my physique, which was validated. And I know exactly what it is, because a lot of these men will go through life, achieve such amazing things, but they won't acknowledge it. It just becomes that other thing that I've just done. I remember after I won the World Series, I became the PCA World Champion muscle model. And straight away, what I went home and did is I put the golden trophy on its face. I put a fat line of cocaine on the back of it, and I did a massive line off the back of it. I then went straight on to the next competition. I didn't sit there and acknowledge what I did. I mean, as a kid, I used to keep all of my trophies everywhere, and that was my version of acknowledgement of the things that I did. But I didn't really sit there and go, wow.
It's like a way of escaping your reality, yourself.
Yeah. I could look at these things and go, I did these things, but I didn't truly take them in.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what a lot of men are doing. They're usually doing these things because they don't feel worthy. They feel like, I'll be happy when I have this. I'll be happy when I'm in this sort of relationship. I'll be happy when I have this sort of money. At the end of the day, if we are tying our happiness to something external, then we're never going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So sharing my journey and my growth and my story, and this is why I started back up on social media in 2024. I came off for 6 months, and my condition to myself when I came back on was I'm sharing my journey of what's helped me, and I'm not chasing the validation from other people. Now, it was easy said than done, but I went back into that place of validation. I went back into that sort of state. But coming through the other side to where I am now in that position where I am able to help these men go through the journey that I've experienced. And a lot of the ways that I help is through reflection and meditation and breath work. Because a lot of us, we're trying to do these things externally to validate ourselves externally because we haven't felt what it feels like internally in a very long time. Mm-hmm. So what I am here to do is to be able to get people out of the mind and into the body, to be able to feel those things that we haven't allowed ourselves to feel for so long, because that is how we start reconnecting with our soul, with our purpose, with just ourselves in general.
Mm-hmm. And when we talk about ambition, how do you know when ambition is healthy and when achievement has become a way of escaping yourself?
I mean, I think it's looking at taking your life order, seeing where we are right now. Like with the ambition that we have and the achievement that we have, are we satisfied with that? Where else in life are we missing? Because a lot of people, they feel ambitious, but they're ambitious because they are lacking in the relationship. They're lacking in the other places. I became ambitious because this makes me feel like I'm worthy. Like ambition is beautiful, but is it healthy? Mm-hmm. Like if you're driven to a cause that is greater than yourself, you are living in alignment with who you are, and you are showing up every day as the man that you want to be, then yeah, ambition is incredible. But if you're chasing this lie that isn't in line with who you are and you feel like shit inside, and you're using ambition as a way to avoid what's actually going on, that
escape.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you could sit next to your younger version of yourself, not to try to fix him or to judge him, but just to sit beside him, what would you want him to know?
I'm sorry that I've ignored you for so long. I'm sorry that I've tried to do this all by myself without taking you into consideration about how you would feel. I'm sorry that I said I was there for you, but truly I wasn't. But now I'm here. I see you. I love you. And this is no longer something that I'm doing by myself. This is something that we're doing together. What would I say to him? What I want him to know? The life that you're about to have is going to test you. Mm-hmm. You're going to feel isolated. You're going to feel ashamed. You're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel a whole range of emotions, and you're going to feel like it was your fault. But know that everything that you are going to experience is all happening for your greater good. Life happens for you and not to you. The experience will be a lot easier if you allow yourself to take lessons instead of taking things personally. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Wow. It's hard to talk to yourself, right? It's hard to go back to your younger version and try to talk and remind him how perfect he was, that he did what he knew. You could have done it better if you knew better. So you should still be. To mine, I would say you did it. It was hard, but you never gave up. You kept trying, and I'm proud seeing you keep trying. Life has been great, but also sometimes hard, but you never gave up. I saw you fighting, and I'm very proud that I decided to follow this path again and get that strength back.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So someone listening, they have the career, the money, the relationship, probably the house, the body, the success. And again, as we said, they still feel empty. We do have so many of those people around. My question would be, coming from your experience that you've been coaching and helping a lot of people, where do they begin?
Begin with yourself. The hardest thing we can do is to sit with ourselves.
Is it any question they need to ask themselves?
It doesn't have to be any question to start off with, because if we can't sit with ourselves in silence and be with whatever comes up without judgment, then asking a question to yourself can be difficult, because you sit there and go, well, what is the right question to ask? The thing is, when we sit with ourselves in silence, a lot of things are going to start coming up. And usually the uncomfortable thing, the way we talk to ourselves, the pattern we need to break, certain things will come forward, and they're usually where you start. Our body is always going to want to come back to baseline. A lot of the things that we hold in are us holding that in by choice. Like, again, when something's coming forward, when a memory's coming forward and something that you've been holding on to, the reason it's you hold on to is because you keep pushing it backwards. It's coming forward because I want you to process, wants to release this and wants it out. But we've been taught to push these things down, to suppress it. Don't cry, hold on, push it back down, don't deal with it, because we don't talk about that. And it's like, well, okay, if we don't talk about that, then we're not going to process that, and that's going to get stuck in the body. So if you are in that state, then sit with yourself, see what comes up. Don't judge what comes up. Journal that down, what's come up. Like one thing I do with my clients, and before I do a meditation or a breath work, is I get people to do a brain dump. The brain dump is what's going on right now. What is inside your head? Put it on paper. It doesn't have to be neat. It could be all over the page. It could be done in a circle, whatever it is, get it out of the head on paper.
Right.
Okay. And then we go into the meditation, the breath work. But for people listening to this, sit with yourself, see what's coming up. Don't judge it. Write it down. You'll then see it could be you talk to yourself like, shit, cool. That's one area. Where does that come from? It could be running away of a conversation that you need to have that you're avoiding. Okay, where does that come from? It could be something from childhood that you haven't thought about in a very long time. Okay, that probably needs addressing. When these things come up, these are indicators for, okay, these probably need to be worked through. And I can tell you, they are going to be hard to work through because you've spent so long pushing them down. But the sooner that you work on those things and address them, start to shift the perspective, be kind with yourself. And that is the most important thing with all of this, is going through the process with love and kindness. Because if we don't have that loving kindness towards ourselves, then we're definitely not accepting it from other people. We are the worst. We are worse to ourselves than anyone will ever be. So
And
this is why it's so important to do.
Yeah. And for everyone who is listening right now, you mentioned breath work so many times and shadow work as well. So
Yeah.
if somebody's kind of anxious tonight, what can they do with their breath for the next 2 minutes?
Look, a lot of people look at box breathing and certain things. Box breathing is amazing. It was created by the Navy SEALs. Can't help them down regulate. But for me, one of the best things you can do is slow breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, as if you're breathing out a candle or blowing out a candle. During that exhale, it's letting the tension take away from your shoulders, letting that body start to settle. Because in this moment, you'll find that a lot of the tension, people's shoulders are up and a lot of tension is being held onto. If we can start to allow our body to surrender, allow our breath to slow down, stop trying to rush things, start to release that external tension, we can start to release the other things around us. Now, if you want something one more that can be really helpful is a physiological sigh. So it's a slow breath in through the nose. Do a sit and release with a sigh.
That's amazing. I do that a lot actually myself. So for everyone who is listening, you guys have to try it. And what does shadow work actually look like when you sit down and do it?
Shadow work is, again, facing those parts of you that you have been denying. So as an example, the most recent shadow work was the money limiting beliefs that I've been having. And those money limiting beliefs are things that came up from childhood. Now, again, my upbringing was incredible, and my parents did everything they could to be able to take us on holidays. I know a lot of people look at shadow work, go, my upbringing was good. I didn't have any trauma and all these sorts of things. I'm like, it doesn't have to be a physical or mental trauma. Like birth itself is a trauma, but it doesn't have to be a physical or thingy trauma. Like even if, as I said, my parents gave us 2 to 3 holidays a year. They did everything they could to make sure they could afford to do that for us. But we would still hear the conversation is, we can't afford to do this, or we can't afford to do that. So those little things, even though they are so minuscule for a child brain, the way we take that on is, holy shit, money's hard to make. For my entire life, I would see things that would come in where I'd get a massive chunk of money in there, then I'd spend it all. Or I'd make risky investments because I was trying to make money quickly. Or I'd do these just silly things with money because I didn't have the money literacy, even though I thought I did. So lying in bed at 3 a.m. the other day, when it just comes full force, everything you're doing is going to fail. You're never going to have enough money. This is what's going to happen. You need to have this. You need to do that. The shadow work is sitting, exactly. And the shadow work is sitting with that, letting that play out, but then starting to rewire those old beliefs, giving myself a different perspective on those beliefs that had been so ingrained in me for so long. The shadow is the part of ourselves that we deny. If it's something that you're pushing down, that's shadow, that needs work.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's powerful. And what is your relationship with your family? Because I think family, it's a huge part in our healing journey, I believe.
100%. I think there was a point in time where I felt very disconnected, and that disconnection came from my own part. And recently we were just in Fiji for my brother's wedding, and it was a beautiful wedding, like really, really beautiful wedding. Like my brother and his husband, beautiful. Watching those two get together was incredible. There's a moment to see true love really come together. Even for my other brother, I was at his wedding last year with him and his wife. And this one with Fiji is I knew I had to be there, but there were parts of me that was avoiding it. And I remember I said to my parents, I'm like, okay, we're coming. So I got myself to Fiji, and it was a very, very healing moment. Have some really quality time to reconnect with my parents. I was able to have some good time, quality time with my brothers to reconnect with both of those guys. And it's to the point now is I'm making sure that I'm speaking to everyone twice a month and having a proper conversation and getting to know who they are. Because I've lived away from home since I was 17. So 20 years I've lived away. And it's very easy to have that disconnection because you aren't in each other's pockets anymore. My life was very different to all of them. And my life was also lived 24-hour flight away. So it's very easy to get a perspective of someone from what you see on social media and what they tell without actually being a part of their life. I'm really grateful I got to spend that time with them because I love my family dearly. I'm so grateful for them, and to be able to have that experience has been a very big part of this change, because the healing family connections as well is also a part of the work that we need to do, because that is our connection. That is our source into life. And I understand for a lot of people that it's not easy to connect with family, because sometimes family is so disconnected and so not understanding of your journey in your life. So I've got some friends that they were in Thailand with me, and he was going through a very big awakening. And during that awakening, it's been beautiful to see what the experience that he's gone through. But he went back home, and what was happening at home was they were asking the question of how was the experience, and he started sharing with them, and he was met straight away with a wall. You can't do that. That goes against this. Yeah. Why would you do that? That's poison. And it's hard. The hardest thing about awakening is we also can't be mad, because it's like you're making judgments now on your level of understanding of the world. I've now had this experience where my understanding has evolved.
Right.
So it's two different conversations
happening. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I remember when I went through my awakening journey, it was kind of hard to make the family understand. But then I took the decision that, hey, this is going to be my space, respect it, and we're good. When I feel better, I'm going to be able to communicate more, and probably you're going to understand more. And now everybody's involved in discovering themselves. So it's good. Yeah. It's good to at least communicate, but to not let anyone to direct you on your decision or to stop you. Like you shouldn't feel bad if they get mad or you don't talk to them. If these are not the people that are going to support you through your healing journey or any journey that you take in life, then you should have a conversation.
Yeah. And you lead by example, because when you start changing and you start evolving, people are going to tell you you're different. Like you've changed. This isn't who you are. And it's like, well, no, you don't know who I am. This is the version of me that is the higher version of myself coming through. At the end of the day, a lot of religions where they try to force their perspective down your throat, it's not your job. Your job is to do you and to step into the best version of you. If you do that, other people will see that. And then if that resonates with them and they choose to start to evolve, then amazing. But I'm a firm believer that we are all here for the same purpose, and that is to help humanity evolve. Absolutely. Just the mission is different on how we achieve that. So stick in your lane, evolve yourself, and the right people will follow.
Contribute. Absolutely. I love that because I do try to help as much as I can. That has been my mission since a kid. Like I knew my mission was to help humanity through probably my voice, my music, my everything that I try to do through this podcast, through your voice, and everybody else who's going to be involved. So you went through a lot of journey apparently. What did you discover about yourself? Like something that you didn't want to know? Is it anything that you discovered?
Something I didn't want to know.
Did you go to any like past life regression kind of session or experience?
I haven't. I've really wanted to. I haven't yet. It hasn't come across my path. I haven't found anything that I didn't want to. There's been a lot of uncomfortability, but I've really taken the perspective of everything I learn about myself and my journey is information. What I do with that information is completely up to me. And that's like everything in life. Again, there's never a good or bad. It is just information. And we can always choose the next steps. It's like, I remember the first time I started implementing this, and there was a girl that I was really besotted by. And again, I was also in that stage of I was still trying to fill a hole with other people. But I remember I listened to a podcast and someone mentioned this whole thing about the information side of things. And I remember I was like, I'm going to tell her how I feel. And at the end of the day, once I tell her how I feel, no matter what happens, I have information. I have information if she's going to be the one I'm going to have a relationship with, or I have information that she's not the right one. So as we can tell, I'm sitting here as a single man. So it was the information that she's not the right one for me. But that's it. Everything is information. And the more we can look at our life experiences as information for our next steps,
right?
As stop taking everything so personally, the better things are going to be.
When it comes to information as well, I need to be very careful. I was the one who started believing every information I was receiving from different people. So I believe you should be very aware and careful how you receive it.
100%. I think, look, I think there's a very beautiful thing happening in the world at the moment, and we're seeing it with social media. We're seeing the original influencer is dying out. We're seeing the bullshit influencer, the one that is there feeding you fake news. All these fads and all these things are dying out. And I think you'll find that the more these die out, the more you're going to start getting the authentic people coming through and the ones that you can start to trust. Now, again, it doesn't mean trust everyone. It means if something resonates with you and that person resonates with you, then do your due diligence, do your own research on that to go down that hole. It's like, okay, does this resonate with me? Because one thing I always respected about certain scientists, especially when I was in the fitness industry, when you'd see someone who would come forward with a claim and then a year later they'd go, you know what, I said this and now more research has come out and now I changed my perspective to this. So I respect people that can go, yes, that resonates, but I want to know for myself. So that's
beautiful. Perfect. So Ashley, before I let you go, people who are listening right now, how can they find and connect with you?
So social media is consciously_Ash. If you want to I run a 6-week cohort, which is 4 times a year. So over those 6 weeks, we run through basically everything that I do in my 12-week coaching, but we can condense it down to 6 weeks. On the 4th week as well, we usually go through a very powerful breathwork journey on that. And that has been, every time I've done that, it has been a mind-blowing journey. Been a very powerful cohort. So that is at Catch Your Breath. If you would like to talk further on some one-on-one coaching and see if this is for you, then it's consciousllyash.co. Now, yes, men are the ones that I predominantly talk to, but I find in a lot of my cohort, it is majority women. I know they say with marketing, it's like you target one certain group, but you're going to get other people. But I'm finding these days that I've got more of a balance with male and female, men and women clients.
The work you're doing is very great. So thank you for doing it. And is it anything, before we finish this conversation, is it anything you would like to tell everybody who's listening right now?
Well, 2 things. One, I'm actually building my own app, which is on this app, it has got an AI version of me that has been trained up on all of my coaching calls, the way that I take on my sessions, my methods. That is going to be almost a mentor in your pocket. So I already use this with my clients, so they have something they can go back and forth with in between our sessions. But on that app as well, you're going to have guided breath works, guided meditations. It's also going to have a community and access to a lot of the free things and paid things that I do as well. So that's going to be coming out this year. But to give you something to leave with before this ends, know that you are always where you're meant to be, having the experience you are having. There's a lesson in everything that you're experiencing. Now, you may not see that at this point in time, and that's okay. But know that whatever is happening to you is happening for a reason. The sooner you're able to surrender to that experience and look at it as it's happening for me instead of to me, things will start getting easier. When you notice that you're living in a state which feels uncomfortable, that uncomfortability is usually resistance, which usually means there's something of what's going on around you right now which needs to change. The thing is, life is flow, life is growth. Everything is always moving forward and happening for your greatest good and your greatest growth. If you look at a bushfire that goes through a forest, what happens? It regrows. If you look at a city that gets abandoned, Mother Nature takes back over. Everything is always growing and moving forward, just like your life. It is a choice if you choose to stand still and be a victim to the life, or you can surrender to it, go with the flow, grow, and step into the best version of you. I hope.
I did forget one small detail. The movie,
The TV show.
the TV show. I'd really want to know some details.
Look, so that was. This is also going into a limiting belief moment, actually. So I've had reality TV that has come in and out of my life for the past 10 years. We did Britain's Got Talent. We're back in 2015 with Forbidden Nights. I've done a lot of extra work. I've had TV shows approach me and they just weren't right. And when this one came forward for Reality Retreat, I remember when the producers messaged me and they said, I want to speak to you about a TV show. And because of everything I've done, again, when I worked in the OnlyFans space, I'm so used to people messaging me with all these promises of we're going to give you $100,000 or a car, or if you just do this. Just stupid things are being promised, things are never happening. And they're like, yeah, we want to speak to you about a TV show that we have. And I'm like, okay, let's feel it out, see what this is. But what's really funny with this, actually, is just before I received that message, I was going through that I had like 2,000 dirham left to my name. And I remember which is maybe like, I don't know, $800, something like that. And I remember I was speaking to one of my friends and he was like, Ash, you need to stop. You need to surrender. You need to put your phone down and stop doing anything right now and go for a shower. Because right now you are fighting so hard against this. You need to surrender to the universe and let it do its thing. I'm like, okay. So I got in the shower, came back out, and that's where I saw the message saying, hey, we want to talk to you about a TV show. So I remember I got that, and she then said, we had an interview, and she goes, I love you. I really want to put you on the, get you to meet the owner. I'm like, okay. So we had the call, and she was like, yep, love you. And we'll have another call. And we got to the third call and they were showing me all the girls and telling me the experience. And I was already helping, going back and forth with ideas of what we were going to do. And I said at the end of it, I was like, wait, does this mean I've got the job? And they're like, yeah. I was like, no way. So I remember I got off I was like, okay, ladies, thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you when we go to film. This is amazing. I put my laptop down. I ran straight into my housemate's room, grabbed him, and I was like, and I was like, no way, dude, this is happening. And I remember I told some of my friends about it and they were like, you know what, man, there is no better TV show that is for you. And I was like, I know, I'm really excited. Now I just need to shut up about this because it needs to come true. And the interesting part was I was filming around the same time the war started in Dubai, around the Middle East. And I remember I was like, they said to us, we're going to get you out here. I said to them, I'm like, look, something's about to happen. I know it. You need to get me out of the country. And they're like, oh, we're just waiting for your background check. And I was like, I get that, but something's going to go wrong. And she ended up saying, okay, cool. We're going to get you on a flight. I trust you. You're not a murderer. Let's get you out here. Mm-hmm. So I did that. 3 hours later, the first explosion happened. I was like, I need to get to the airport. So I got to the airport. They shut the airport. And I was like, what is going to happen? I can't miss this opportunity. So I had 2 days where I was freaking out. We were booking flights. They were getting canceled, booking flights canceled. And I remember I gave them a call and I said, look, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a taxi to the border and I'm going to get myself this way. And they said, look, you get here however you need to. We got your back. So I took a 2.5 hour taxi to the border, 3 hours in between the UAE and Oman, 3 hour taxi to Muscat. The next flight wasn't available so I got there at 1 a.m. The next flight wasn't available until 11 a.m. I then got the flight for Muscat to Turkey, Turkey to Rome, then Rome to Madrid, Madrid to the location. And I remember I got there and everyone was like, oh my God, we didn't think you'd make it. And I was like, neither did I. But I tell you what, being with these people and filming what we did was one of the most incredible experiences, because what this isn't, like I know you've had like other therapy shows of Dr. Phil and all these other wild TV shows, but what this is we're bringing these people into a space where you are seeing healing happening in real time.
Nice.
Now, I can't say too much about it, but this show has an opportunity or has a chance to be able to create a massive impact, because what everyone is used to seeing is a version of what TV wants you to see with people. So you get the villain, you get this, you get that. You get to see another side of these women that has never been seen before. And I'm very grateful that I am able to be a part of this to help see this amazing transformation happen with these incredible women.
Wow. I'm excited.
So, yeah, I'm very excited for it. I think
to see. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know any other details, but yeah, that's it really. But yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah. You see, life is good. You're always going to see the benefits after a very long journey of different experiences. You start see those benefits. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Ashley, thank you so much for being willing to go back into some of those places with us to hear. And I'm pretty sure you inspired so many other people today who needed to hear something that, yes, people can change. People go through a lot of different experiences.
Yeah.
The power is to get yourself back.
Yeah. It's a remembering. We're not finding a new version of ourselves. We're remembering who we are under all the bullshit that we've carried for our entire lives.
Thank you so much. This really was a very great conversation.
Thank you, Tina. I've enjoyed this. Thank you very much.
Me too. No, that was a great conversation. It was more healing between each other as well. So it was not just a conversation. It was a very healing conversation. So thanks for sharing.
You're very welcome. Thank you for creating this.
Thanks for being you. And yeah, keep helping other humans that need some guidance out there. I'm happy that people like you does exist in the world. So I'm happy to show the example.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful.
Yes.
Very, very grateful. And I'm grateful for people that you create space. So yeah.
Thank you.
What's the time now? 10 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. You have a routine. So I'm going to let you follow your routine. I don't want to be the bad girl telling you, oh, you're not cool as a friend. Let's go out and have fun. No.
Well, last night, I went and played touch football for the first time in 5 years. And
that's cool.
It was amazing, but I needed to warm up so much more than what I did. So I walked away. My body this morning felt like I had worked out muscles that definitely don't exist. And I remember when I got in last night, I was like, my routine went straight out the door. I was like, I'm cooking food and I'm face planting, and that is it. Because I was so tired and my body was so sore. Anyway,
Especially when
I
you
hope
have
you
a
have a
routine. Yeah.
yeah. But I hope you have a fantastic day today,
Thank you
and
so much.
let's definitely keep in touch.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, we're gonna have a second one for sure. And I'm gonna make sure the microphone is really gonna work as I want to be. Thank you
For
so
the
much,
next one,
Ashley.
next time we're face to face.
Yes. Oh, that's gonna happen soon. We know it
Good. I
will,
love it.
so yeah.
It will.
Sweet, sweet. Okay, well, you enjoy your sleep
I
time
will.
and then we're gonna be in touch and talk soon.
Let's talk, let's chat, where the blues meets the sparkle. Tina Minerali, she's lighting up the dark. So tune in, lean in, the magic's on soon. Let's talk with Tina. Come.
That was definitely a beautiful conversation with Ashley, so I really need to take a sip and just process everything because it was beautiful and it was also a reminder for me. So I'm pretty sure this conversation it's gonna help a lot of other people who need it to hear. So Ashley, thank you for being willing to go back into some of those places with us. And to everyone listening, maybe something in Ashley's story made you uncomfortable. Maybe it made you curious. Maybe it reminded you of a part of yourself you've been avoiding. Whatever it brought up, don't rush to explain it away. Sit with it. Ask yourself what it's trying to tell you. Because sometimes the questions we're most afraid to ask ourselves are the questions that bring us closest to who we really are. This is Tina, and you're listening to Let's Talk with Tina. Subscribe and tell us what interests you, and we promise we will continue to deliver great content. Make someone feel better today and share these podcasts with whoever needs to hear it. This is Tina, and you listened to Let's Talk with Tina.
Let's talk with Tina, where hearts can be. So grab a chair, stay a while with Tina's voice. You'll leave with a smile.